Okay, I'm on here. It's Sunday. Uh, Hopefully you're having a good day there. I've got a sunny day outside. I think it's around 70 degrees, somewhere in that neighborhood. Uh, just got done eating lunch a few minutes ago. Had a pizza with, I think it had sausage and pepperoni on it. Well, I did notice last night that two Lees in a pod got their channel got hit with somebody that tried to knock them off air for a few minutes there about harassment, bullying, and I thought, well, that's pretty cute. They're not, they don't do not even half or a tenth what other channels are doing, but they get nailed. Anyway, they were back up and running pretty quickly. It was very short-lived. I'm not sure if whoever took it down, if they thought it was a great deal playing those cute little games, but so be it. You know, freedom of speech is something that we all like to think we have, and some abuse, some don't. And anytime an opportunist comes along, they think they can take some of your privileges away, they step in there and do the best they can to take it. It's kind of a shame. So many of our forefathers spilt blood over this nation, trying to give us and keep us into this freedom. And we work so hard to take the freedom away from each other. You know, what it really comes down to is we're afraid to look at both sides of any story. And I can tell you, I've looked at both sides. And even though just about every time I put a vid up here, somebody says, you're not looking at this or that or whatever it is. And in real terms, I did look at it. And I looked at it thoroughly. And the person that usually accused me of not watching or looking or knowing had a different view than mine, even though they may have watched the same thing. It's hard for me to believe they actually did watch it. Yeah, it's a word salad, isn't it? Well, it's a polite way of saying they came on here and tried to put words in my mouth that shouldn't have been there, and they're guessing about something they had absolutely no idea about. And then I suspected that they did the same thing about what they were talking about. Makes sense to me. Now, somebody came on there and said that, no, they didn't come on that channel. It was another channel that said that Bruce Matchkin didn't have the proper paperwork to perform as a lawyer in the state of Florida, and yet he took the documentation that was issued by the state of Florida, showed it on live air, and it very well says, yes, he can, in this case that he's going to represent Ms. Preston in her, from the federal charges brought about by Mr. Hales. So, sorry to say that whoever is spreading that rumor, they're 100% incorrect. He is authorized in the state of Florida to represent Ms. Preston on this federal case. So be it. Now, I know some of you think it's funny when somebody draws blood on another, whether it's in here or if, let's say, I make a point, some of the people may be thinking, well, it's a great thing Ray went in there and was able to get the best of somebody, and then they go over there to another channel and it's, oh, they got the best of Ray today. Well, look, people, it's not really a game, and not so much who's on top, or we're all looking to get our point across is all it is. And I express my opinion freely, as you can too. On my channel, you have to play by my rules, and when I come on somebody else's channel, I have to play by their rules. I don't let as many people run wild on mine as a lot of other ones do. I don't like particularly care for name calling. A little bit goes a long way, and when it gets nasty, then I have to pull the plug on whatever it is or whoever it is, so it doesn't get carried away to the point that I don't want somebody to get physical in this little sideshow that we have going on here about Otter Creek. I think it's a shame that as adults we can't act like adults. You know, we can negotiate and we can talk about it and we can give our opinions. And that's what it's all about for us. We can do that. To take it to too many steps, that we're better off to let the courts, lawyers, and the people that are involved handle it. The biggest thing that I would like to see is make sure that it's a level playing field for all those concerned, that both parties have legal representation, that both parties are sound of mind when they come into that court so that they can defend themselves as they should, because both have opposing views, and it's going to be up to either a judge or a judge and jury to bring a conclusion to this problem that's between two people, or maybe four people, whatever it is. Let's use the legal system like it's supposed to be. And we can be followers of either side or both sides without getting mad at each other over some little piddly thing. Now, somebody got mad at me because I had made a reference to Jeremy when he was taking a video of John when he was walking alongside the road and they were measuring up a fence, him and his partner over there, Michelle. And I said he stopped, and actually it was more like a rolling stop, a California stop, if you will. The car was moving but not very fast, and he was talking to John out there, telling him he needed to get 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet. And you could tell it was a very slow vehicle moving, perhaps on the wrong side of the road rather than the side that he belonged on, and he was doing it with a phone, which is against the law in the state of Florida. Distracted driving on the wrong side of the road, and he's telling the guy you're violating the 10-foot rule on the protection order. So you come on here and tell me how wrong I am, and I'm telling you, hey, listen, we got two parties out there that need to be able to get this protection order in order. It is a little lopsided when you can't measure along your property, that somebody can come along. He was out there first. I don't care, you can say anything you want. John was there first. And yes, he has to move and get out of the way and leave the store, leave the post office. He has to go back on his property. But you got to remember, if indeed this vehicle is moving, like you told me, then that is not necessarily true, because he was there, Jeremy was on the move through. If you're saying the law gives him permission to come up behind John and tell him to get out of the way, I think that a judge might take issue with that. That's what I think. And I think if it's going to be used in that way, then it needs to go back before a judge, and it needs to be a better lawyer with Miss Preston to figure this out. She is being harassed, and every time she leaves her property, somebody knows about it. If you don't think that's right, if you don't think that I'm telling you the truth, that little walk down the highway she did, it didn't take long for that to get around, and phone calls were made and people started coming out and looking at her. The sheriff's department came out and talked to her. I want you to think about that a little bit. Could you live through that same thing? Probably not. We're all getting in there and we're starting to try to make it hard for the other person to even say anything on here. I've had people come on different channels and talk about me in terms that they have no idea. And they don't know what's going on in my mind, and I don't know what's going on in theirs. I just know what my rights are, and I plan on utilizing them to the best that I can. And I'm not going to come over there and give you a bad time on your channel, because that'd be a little foolish. And hopefully the people that watch my channel understand my feelings about the whole thing, and they don't go out and purposely harass somebody. I want you to be in my mind and say, okay, we can discuss it, we'll be friendly about it, and we can go home knowing that people were able to watch the opinion without completely trying to destroy us or our opinion. And what I'm looking out there is people that they don't want to just destroy your opinion, they're after us. They're trying to destroy you, and I don't know why. What has got us to the point where we think we have to rub somebody's nose in the mud to get our point across? I don't think that's necessary. You know, half the world is mad at the other half, one reason or another. Doesn't take a whole lot anymore. And I pray that the Lord will bring an understanding between all of us so that we can get back together. And it has to happen somehow. We can't let our children inherit an earth where they're mad before they even hit the first day of school. Let's go back to having some common sense morals. It don't matter whether you're religious or not. Why don't you read the Ten Commandments? I do it on here, but a bunch of you would get off from here because you say, "Oh, that's not my belief." But it's an explanation of how I feel. It's how I grew up. There's nothing wrong with the Ten Commandments. It's something that's very stable, and man has passed thousands of laws trying to give us commandments that will keep us from having freedom, and yet it's based on the morals of the Ten Commandments of the King James Bible. You know, I don't know. I know laughing isn't the answer. And I think it's foolish what we're doing out there. I do. But if you want to be fair about it, do me a favor. Listen to both sides before you start attacking or getting after people. And for all of you guys that think I haven't been looking at some of the other stuff, I have. I looked at it, and there's a lot of things I agree, but there's a lot of things I disagree on. And the one thing I think we ought to do is to understand we all have equal rights under the eyes of the law. The United States was made that way. And we've been spending a few hundred years trying to level the field enough so that everybody feels comfortable within our country, and that's the limits of where our borders are. I don't like the idea that we go into other countries and try to force it on somebody else. That's not my idea of good living. I do believe that we ought to enforce them on our own ground, though. And I think you and I should agree to those laws and if we have to help our legal system get there, let's do it. But I don't believe in trying somebody out in public, because that's vigilante style trial. The one with the most money and the most influence, the most charismatic, will win in the public eye. But it may not be the true equal in the sense of being equal according to the eyes of the law. Well, anyway, that's all I've got on this. Oh, I am going to start putting a channel, or not a channel, but because of most of you know I've got COPD, and I also have sleep apnea. And I'm getting ready to change doctors to one that handles both, because the two of them right now are somewhat conflicting with each other. And I want to try to get it to when one person is going to make some of those medical decisions that need to be made here in the near future. I have, in the recent history, I've deteriorated considerably. I caught RSV not too long ago, and it has taken my abilities to do some simple things out there, whether it be even some walking, and I do get out and walk every day a little bit. But I need to try to get back to where I was a couple years ago, if I can. And part of what's bringing me down right now is I have a overabundance of phlegm in my throat that's in my lungs as well. And some of it is very deep, and it's harder to get out. And it has thickened. And you can tell in my speech and in the amount of my breathing how hard it is for me to do these things. So what I'm doing is I'm going to separate my videos, and the ones that I talk about COPD, I'm going to put it in the title part. That way, those of you that don't have COPD and aren't interested in it, or sleep apnea, you can bypass that video completely, because that's what I'll be talking about. I won't be talking about this little deal down there in Florida, or the principles that are involved in those videos, because I've got a different intent with those. Part of it is to get more useful programs that I can look at. Part of the ways I've survived it to this point is a lot of people have told me what they've done or what doctors they went to, so that I could get information that helped me in my circumstances to get where I'm at. Quite frankly, back when I was in my 50s, early 50s, I was told I was going to need a heart-lung transplant, and the chances didn't look good for survival of the operation or the longevity of it, even if it made it through. So the things that I did was I went to different doctors and had prognoses done and testing, and tried to pick what I thought would work for me, along with trying to work as well, because I worked till I was 65. Unfortunately, along the way I had a stroke, and I don't know if part of that was caused because of some of the things associated with this disease, or the combination of the sleep apnea and the disease. My oxygen at night goes down quite a bit, and it's been measured different times during sleep studies, and I'm at the point where I may have to start oxygen therapy, and I'm not really looking forward to that, because I don't want to have some strapped to me. And I don't know if they want to do it at night or not, but usually that's the beginning of the end when they start that stuff, and I'm not looking forward to any of that, so I'm going to try other things, whether it be exercise or trying to strengthen. Along with that, I've had some further paralysis on the right side of my diaphragm. I was able to get my diaphragm working back years ago. It now has stopped, and so I no longer have that to help me breathe, and something is pushing it up. And he said that's common in people that have COPD. So, and I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me. I don't want any donations. I'm doing fine. I'm doing everything that I want to do. I believe in the Lord. He'll guide me in the right direction to take care of this. Like I say, the guys that watch me for the side where I talk about this little thing in Florida, that it's just kind of a hobby for me. I'm not going to stop doing that, but I am adding something out there that is going to take some of my time up, and a lot of it is because I'd like to survive a few extra days. And if I don't, I'm not going to worry about it, and I don't want to be burdening anybody out there with that. The other day, somebody on my channel said, well, it's boring to hear you talk about your health. And I don't want to bore anybody. To me, it's very serious. And if I can help somebody, or they can help me, that's what I'm looking for on these other vids that I'm going to put up there. Like I say, up in the top, in the title, it's going to say COPD. Or it may say sleep apnea or something like that. I have equipment that I use for that. I've got quite a few different medications that I take, and the different things that affected me may not affect somebody else. Somebody else may be doing something that I can ask the doctor about. That's what this is going to be for, that part of it. So let me repeat it again. The ones that say COPD on it, no matter what the rest of it says, will be for that only. And please, you don't need to come on there and start haranguing me. I'm not asking for anybody to come view it, and I certainly don't want any sympathy or I'm going to get through this thing on my terms. And I thank you for listening very much and your patience. And God bless all of you for being around for me. It's been a great day.